What up guys, how are you doing today? For this tutorial we'll be creating a game a bit similar to Tic Tac using HTML and CSS with JavaScript. In this episode I'm going to assume you already have the basics covered for both HTML, CSS and JavaScript, so I won't be explaining some few things here. If you haven't gotten the basics covered, please make reference to the next few videos. Okay, so now the game uses pictures instead of X and O's, and it's a bit easier to understand compared to tic-tac-toe. To show you how the game works, you click on each box. And if the image is more than one, it gives you the well done, an alert well done like you just saw now. Okay, so it's easy to do. It's looking a bit simple and easy on the brain. If you think you could do this yourself, then please pause the video and go ahead. Alright, and then maybe you could come back and check if you got it, if we have the same code, you know. Okay, so let's head straight to it. Okay, so now for this we would create index our index file, then our app.js. Give this a title of tic-tac-toe. Now we would also link Bootstrap to the document, so go to bootstrap.com, get started. I'm already there, getting started. Then you link this, okay, you copy this, and you paste it in your head of documents. Okay, and just toggle word wrap there for a moment. Okay, so now if you don't know Bootstrap, if you haven't learned Bootstrap or anything, don't worry, I'm not using Bootstrap a lot. Okay, just a bit here and there. Okay, so now we are giving this a class of tick. Okay, so just select this. Let me see. If you select this, then shift alt and down, just do it twice. Okay, so now this is a row, the first row. All right, so to create the second row we just copy all of this. Okay, well, we put the shift alt down again. All right, and that's it. So now let's link to the JavaScript here too, at the bottom rather than at the top, because the top helps your using the bottom helps your page load faster. So yes, save that. Okay, so I guess we should start styling it then. All right, so your header, okay, so let's give this a class of ticks. All right, let's just give this a class of ticks. No, I'm just coming up with any name at the spot, so sorry about that. Oops. Okay, so now we're going to style the image. Later we are going to reference the image to the DOM later. So styling it now. See. Okay. So okay, I've seen the mistake. Oh my bad. Container. Okay. So alright. So now we have to add an event listener to each one of these, divs here, each one of the boxes. So let's go to app.js. So we select all the divs with a class of tick. Okay, so call these divs. Nope, my bad. Tick. So we are going to create a function, and inside that function we'll listen for a click for each of the div elements. Okay, which is this. For each of the divs elements, we'll listen for a click. Okay, and we'll make sure that click only listens once, meaning after you click once and it runs the function, another click wouldn't run the function. So let me show you instead. So
constant. We'll call this, let me say, just a pix. Call back. Oops.
okay, so let me explain this in a minute. We first started with this function because we are going to define this later, and we would pass a parameter on later for this. Okay, so inside this we are saying for each of the divs, give it a click event listener. All right, and ordinarily if we define an add event listener, we are meant to put this handle click right here. Okay, it's not meant to be defined inside event listener, it's meant to be defined here after you say what you want, whether it's a click or a mouse over or whatever. Okay, so we are meant to define this here instead, but we are going to do it this way because we are passing parameters inside. If we put it here, it won't it you have an error, you have a problem. Okay, so we'll put it inside here instead. So that, and this is listening for if it is true, if once, that's if it clicks once, if that is true, then this shouldn't run again. Okay, So it's practically like removing the events listener. So, and just so you know, this returns a boolean, whether yes or no. Okay. Well, I just thought that information might be needed. So now let's handle what happens once there's a click. Okay, and the handle click function runs. All right. So say this. Okay, now we pass in the div from the for each loop and also the callback. Inside this function, we get the image and store it in variables. So the images we are going to use, we are going to get and store them in variables. Okay, so let me just call this um, or would I use just say image. Okay, so image 2 and then this image 3. Right, so we just call this image 1 and image 2. Okay, so if you've done your homework well, if you've done your homework, you remember the math.random and the math.floor methods. Okay, in case you can't remember math.random or math.floor, well, math.random gives you a number between 0 and 1, so it could be 0 0.1, 0 0.9, 0 0.8, whatever, but it's between 0 and 1. Then maths.floor rounds a number downwards to a whole number. Alright, example, if you have 2.9 as your value, maths.floor rounds that number up to 2. Okay, so we are going to use maths.floor and maths.random here in this code. So oops. But before we use that, we have to store these variables, image 1 and image 2. We have to store these variables inside an array. Okay, that will be able to randomize the item or images inside the array. So we call this array items. Image one, image two. Okay, so then we're going to use items dot math put this inside an array, items, then math dot floor math dot multiplied by items dot length. Okay, so now what we are saying here is that the item dot length, which is 1 2 3. Okay, so math.random gives you a number. Remember I said the number between 0 and 1, so we are going to get the math.random, whatever number it is, multiplied by the item's length, then math.floor brings that number downwards to the whole number. Okay, it rounds it up to the whole number downwards. All right, so we should probably store this inside a variable. Okay, let's call this item. Yes, this should be okay. So now we are going then you see the image that we get from any of this, from the math floor, then math.random, the image we get that is stored inside item. Okay, we have to render that to the DOM. I don't know if you're understanding. We have to put that image to the DOM. All right, so how we are going to do that, we're going to say let's say div dot inner HTML equals to item. Okay, so now this, whatever we get from here, the image is going to be put inside. Let me show you just in a minute. Sorry, it's going to replace this in here. Okay, so maybe we should test that out. Let's see. So now if I okay, so this isn't working because we haven't called back this function here. We haven't called this function here, so we have to finish up the script first. All right, so we have to call the callback function and store this image 1 and image 2 inside the callback function, inside the callback, or whatever the callback function, anyone, for reference later. Okay, so let's do this callback. Sorry. So we also need to store the item, which is what we got from here. Okay, inside the callback also. Alright, so we are done now. This. Okay, now what we would want to do next would need to be able to have a means of checking if the item is equal to any of these images. Okay, and also if the image appears twice. Alright, now for this I personally used a counting method to perform this task. You might figure out another way of doing this, but this is how I did mine. You might have another way of doing it, but this is how I did mine. Okay, so first of all, we want to give each image a value of 0, but we can't use the value attribute with images, so we have to find another way of doing this. Okay, so let's go to the top and say let image I'll show you how we are going to use this in a minute. Show you where we are going to use this. Okay, just remove this one. Yeah, this should be alright. So let's call the function pix. Alright, this, let's call it here. Okay. Also, we'll have to call this the callback we got, the items we got inside here. We'll have to call them all here. You could put anything you want, you could put in callback, but I want to use this. Just copy this from here, paste that here. Okay. Oops. So now we are going to check for each time item is equal to any of the images. Alright, and each time it does, it should increase the value of image here, of this image 1 here, or image 2, or image 3, depending on which image we are talking about. Okay, so each time it does, it should increase the value of the image, and well, we should increase it by 1 each time each time each time it checks. All right, now then after it checks, if the image is equals to 2, all right, if the image, what we defined at the top, if it's equals to 2, then it should alert well done. If you feel you can do this, if you think you can do this, then please pause, try yourself, and get back. All right, if you have another method of doing this, please in the comment sections. All right, thank you. So okay then, so for better understanding, let me show you. So if item is equals to image, so now inside this we are going to say if this image is equals to 2, then alert well done. Alright, so we'll just copy this whole code here, then shift alt down twice. Okay, so we'll change this to 2 2 2. Now we'll do the same for this 3 3 3. Okay, so oops, let me see. Okay, okay, my bad, sorry. So we can equally check if it's also equals to 4, just in case the image comes up 4 times. So we'll just do OR. Okay, so and we are done. So let's see this. Good. And gives us well done, because these two are similar. Okay, and as you can see, if we click, it doesn't change because we only listened for an event listener once. So this doesn't look too hard on the brain, especially if you're a beginner. You could find easier methods of doing it. Just state in the comments below in case you did, so that others can learn too. That will mean a lot. Thanks for watching my video, guys. Please hit the like button. YouTube algorithm is hindering my videos a lot, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more. Catch you on the next video, and bye.